never danced before in my life ever, not as a kid, nothing, played other sports, but never danced. I'm a single mom and I'm an orthopedic surgeon. So busy with work and busy with my kids for many, many, many years. And as they were getting older, I was thinking that I was going to be missing out, needing something to fill the time once they went off to school and became more independent, went off to college, etc. 3 or 4 years ago, I thought I was too, but I knew there was like a big jump still to take, you know? So I think just go for it. Again, doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter if you have, a arthritis in your knee or something, you can still try, you can still do it.
Nice, nice.
And it really became a passion very quickly. So I think, don't be afraid to try something new because again, for me, never danced before, not as a kid, nothing. Loved watching it and said, okay, let me just try. And, again, was very difficult at first. And there were times where I thought maybe I'm just not going to be good enough.
We have Adrienne today with us, ready for an inspiring interview. So, Adrienne, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. Let's start straight away by introducing yourself and let us know how you started to dance.
Sure. So I'm Adrienne Townsend. I live in Philadelphia or near Philadelphia, and I started to dance 7 years ago. At the age of 46. I never danced before in my life ever, not as a kid, nothing, played other sports, but never danced. I'm a single mom and I'm an orthopedic surgeon. So busy with work and busy with my kids for many, many, many years. And as they were getting older, I was thinking that I was going to be missing out, needing something to fill the time once they went off to school and became more independent, went off to college, etc. So we loved watching Dancing with the Stars. That was one of our favorite TV shows to watch all together. And I thought, well, maybe I could take dance lessons just for fun. And I had no idea that you could do competitions, pro-am. I didn't know any of that existed. I just went to a studio near where I work and wanted to just take lessons to learn the social dancing. And then the story goes from there. I met my teacher and learned about competitions. And then, here we are 7 years later, doing lots of competitions, and it's been amazing.
Nice, nice. Yeah, 7 years later, traveling all over the world. So you mentioned about your teacher. Can you tell me more about Roberto, how you met? Because he's Italian, but you are in Philadelphia. So tell me more about it.
Yeah, so Roberto Guida, my teacher, came to the United States in 2017, toward the end of middle of 2017. And we ended up at the same studio. It was just a studio near my work. And he had some contacts at this studio and came to the US for almost 3 years. He was here. And it was just a, coincidence at the studio that he ended up to be my teacher, and I didn't really, again, know anything about competitions at first. So just was hoping to, learn to dance a little bit. And then I went and watched a competition or a day of a competition and said, wow, like this is amazing. I would really love to do this. And so we started a program together in January of 2018 and did our first competition actually just a few months later. Of course, it was pretty quick after starting, and I was, we just did, I was learning American rhythm and American smooth, because here in the US, I mean, usually that's how everybody would start. And then Roberto was a ballroom dancer, standard dancer. So like a year later, once we got a little bit further along, then he introduced teaching me ballroom as well. So so it was an amazing, challenging thing to start to learn, especially later in life. I never really learned anything new, for a long time. So it was so much fun, though. I mean, I was hooked as soon as we started. As soon as we did the first competition, I was like, this is definitely what I want to do, and it became my passion. It really did.
Wow,
and he's a big part of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been dancing together practically since you first started. You start competing with Roberto until now you dance with him. That's nice.
Yeah. Yes.
So how do you feel the relationship change over the years as you get to know each other more? Is it something that you suggest, you recommend? What's your experience on that?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I think we are a lot alike in many ways, and just really became friends pretty quickly. And then we've been through a lot together over the past 7 years in order to keep our partnership together. And I don't think we could have done that if it wasn't that we had a really strong connection and a strong trust and commitment to each other. And it just kind of happened quickly. He's a perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist. He's an amazing teacher. And he has a lot of patience with me because I can get frustrated very easily. So, over time, I think we got to learn, each other's ways very well and developed a really strong connection. Because without that, I don't think we'd be able to do, what we do now. Actually, what we've done for the past 5 years since COVID with our long distance relationship. So we've grown a lot as a team and as friends too over this time.
Nice, nice. So you said a long distance relationship because now Roberto moved back to Italy, is it?
Yes. Yes. So
Okay.
in 2020, yeah. So so we danced together in 2018. We did our first, few competitions that year, maybe four, I can't remember exactly. And then in 2019, we got to a point where we were competing almost once a month. And, I was doing closed bronze and rhythm and smooth. And then we started to add in ballroom. And then we were kind of on a nice path moving forward, and then did a few competitions in early 2020, and then the pandemic hit, So when COVID came, we didn't really know what to expect. Of course, nobody did. But Roberto went home to Italy. We didn't know if he would end up coming back or not, depending on how long things lasted. And then, as it turned out, he didn't end up coming back. So we had been talking and wanted to try to continue, not knowing really how that might work. But a lot of why I loved dancing itself, and I loved, what it did for just me. It boosted my confidence. It was a complete, like, different world than the world that I normally live in with my work. But a lot of it was the connection I had with him and learning from him. And so we figured out a way to do it. We tried, and it's worked for us. So, I mean, he from March of 2020 until now, I mean, he's in Italy and I'm near Philadelphia. So we do Zoom lessons 3 times a week. And we were away from competing for 19 months, with the pandemic. We came back to the competition floor, I think, at the end of 2021. And now we pretty much compete in Europe, and a little bit in Canada now. So yeah, so as I mentioned, I'm an orthopedic surgeon, so I work a lot. So basically, I take all of my vacation, most of my vacation, to dance. And I've gone to Italy about 4 times a year, like every year since this happened. And then when I'm there, we dance in the studio where he grew up, dancing in a small town in Tuscany. And we do like an intense few days. I can usually only be there for a week, maybe 10 days. And we train in the studio, and then we, do a competition either in Italy or somewhere else in Europe, usually.
Wow.
So
Wow. So, and
yeah.
still now you're still taking Zoom lesson. Yeah.
I had one, yeah, actually this morning, yesterday morning. And then, so I use one of my offices, the waiting room is the perfect studio. So, because
Nice.
yeah, I work, full time, like 7:30 in the morning till 5 usually. And so it's hard. We tried in the very beginning. I tried to look for a studio that maybe I could rent some space, but I couldn't find anything close, and the hours were hard. And so it was just, I had a little, like, light bulb went off one day, and I was looking at my office waiting room, and I'm like, this is actually perfect. There's like a wood
That's it.
floor, it's a decent size. So the only problem there is, number one, I mean, I work till 5 or 5:30, and even if I'm not there in the office, other people are. So we can't use it before 5:30 p.m. my time, which is 11:30 p.m. his time. So we do lessons usually twice during the week, like 2 evenings in the week at 5:30 and 11:30 for 2 hours. And then we usually try to do the weekend too. So the weekend will help that I can do like the morning, and then it'll be like early afternoon, for him. So yeah, so
Wow.
3 times a week. Sometimes we only get two because sometimes my schedule is unpredictable, but usually we try to do 3 times a week.
Wow, that's
So
so nice.
yeah,
You see, that's
yeah,
why I like this type of interview.
mhm,
Just
yeah,
a few weeks ago, I interviewed Irina Stepanova from Russia, but she's now living in Portugal, and she carry
okay,
on taking lessons same as you do via Zoom. You see, it's really
yeah.
the passion that
It,
there is no obstacle. It's just a matter of wanting to find the solution.
Yeah, absolutely. We even during COVID, so we did about the first 6 months from March until maybe like October. We were just Zoom, figuring it out and using even a space that I had in my house at that time that was really small, but we just made it work until I realized that, oh, the office waiting room would be perfect. So we did 2 trips during like COVID time before we looked for countries that we could both enter because there were all different travel restrictions during that time. And I mean, and if you needed to know where you could go or what the travel restrictions were, you need to ask either one of us because we were like researching it all the time, figuring it out. So we spent 2 weeks in Croatia in October of 2020 because he could come from Italy and I could come from the US. And we went there just because we had been doing 6 months online and said it was time to like, we really need to dance together at least a little bit. So we went to Croatia and spent 2 weeks just doing like intense days in the hotel there that they didn't have too many people traveling. So they had like a room that they like, set up with a dance floor and we could use. And then we thought, okay, next time I'm going to be able to go to Italy or he's going to be able to come here. And then everything was still bad. So I think about 5 months later, we went to Albania for 2 weeks and did the same thing. And that might have been like 10 days. Yeah, just to have time together. And then finally in the summer of 2021, I think was the first time that I was able to go to Italy. So
Wow.
yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
what a story.
So yeah,
Very
so
nice.
I definitely, some people like around, like people where I work and whatever, thought I was a little bit crazy, and I can understand that. Or when they see me, I have to move all the chairs out of the waiting room to, have the dance floor, and then move them all back because we need them the next day. So it's a little bit, it has to be a passion. Like we're so committed to this and so committed to our like journey. I mean, dancing didn't come naturally to me when we started. So I mean, it was a big job for Roberto to get me to where I am now. So
Okay.
yeah, so definitely, definitely feel like we've accomplished a lot in this time, and I look forward to, what the future holds.
Nice, nice, beautiful,
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
really inspiring. I love it. No, I saw you dancing. What I like the most is
Mhm.
your joy. I mean, you are.
Oh,
You say
yeah,
that it doesn't come naturally. Maybe I don't
yeah,
know that. When I see
yeah.
you in dance floor, you are really, uh, let's say, full of positive energy. Really
Oh, thank
happy,
you. Yeah,
relaxed. I mean,
yeah.
really pleasure. Nice.
Thank
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So you said
He's
that. Oh, sorry, please.
No, no, no. I was just going to say he's been able to like bring that out of me. I think, again, much patience and much, obviously, inspiring and encouraging. And also I think probably just within the past like couple of years, things really started to turn a little bit. Like we started to increase, change the level, do some open routines and do things that, finally, I mean, I had fun all along, but finally kind of made me feel more like I was, dancing, kind of getting away from closed bronze routines and things. And like also making it was fun for me to see Roberto be able to dance more, and be able to show his talents. And so, I was really always looking forward to getting to a level where we could start to, do like his choreography and everything. And so that's been fun. It's hard because we do 3 styles, so that's also been a bit of a challenge. And it was a bit of a challenge to start to do ballroom, especially like on my own. Like even the first probably 6 to 9 months of doing online, we didn't do any ballroom because he was like, I don't know if we really can. And then sure enough, we can. I mean, it's obviously a little bit harder. Once we get back together, we usually spend more time on ballroom than the other 2 styles just to reestablish the connection and everything. But it works.
Wow, fantastic. Really, really
Yeah.
nice. Beautiful. So you
Yeah,
said that you are an orthopedic surgeon.
I
Uh,
am.
did dancing somehow affect, okay, you said that the office, the waiting room, now is your dance floor, but somehow
Yeah.
the relationship with your colleague or with your patient, did they
Yeah.
affect, dancing affect you somehow?
Yeah, well, I think dancing all gave me I mean, as a surgeon, and I've been in practice for 21 years. So, I mean, over time, it's something where you really have to be kind of strong, kind of, there is a confidence that has to come with that. But I think a lot of what dancing has brought me to is a lot more confidence just in myself and kind of the way I carry myself. And I think it's been, helpful in my just life in general. I think it's been also a very interesting thing. My patients really enjoy it. So it's like a fun fact on our website that I do, competitive ballroom dancing. And then if people, if they Google my name, some stuff from social media or whatever will pop up that they can see me, see us in a competition or something like that, just a picture. And so people really like to see that there's like another side to me, and patients will come in and ask me about it, and they're so curious and they really, really like love hearing about it. And they're like, where can we watch you? They always want to know, like, are you on YouTube or something like that? So it's been a nice, like another thing that I can connect with my patients about too. So it's fun.
Wow, very nice. Very nice. So in a way, you're also inspiring your patients.
Yeah.
To
People will ask, because I'll always be very open to say I didn't start dancing till I was 46 years old, and I've also had 2 knee surgeries, so I have a little bit of an issue with one of my knees, and so Roberto is very aware, and so sometimes I can't do certain things exactly the way like he might want, and so he kind of alters things. I just don't have full range of motion in one of my knees. So he's able to work around that. And sometimes we deal with like me having a flare up, or I can't dance as, I can't, like we usually do 5 or 6 hour days when we're together, like in Italy. So sometimes I can't. But we, again, he works around that. And I think if people watch me dance, they probably wouldn't know that I have like a bad knee. So we really, that's another way I can kind of inspire my patients too, and be like, look, I don't have, the perfect, body, but I can still do what I love and, make it work.
exactly. That's really nice. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that when you decide which competition to join, of course, is related to your holiday and when your trip to Italy is gonna be. Let's say what makes a competition being a good competition? What are you looking to when you choose the competition to attend?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, sometimes it does end up being like the time of year that it is, certainly because of like my work schedule. But I mean, we definitely want to go somewhere that is ideally for us, if it's more than one day, it's nice. So something that's a little bit bigger and is spread across 2 days, because we do 3 styles. So, we've thought about if, because many of the competitions, are only one day. And so then we've also thought about like maybe not doing all 3 styles, but up until now, even in the one day competitions, we've usually done all 3 styles, and it can be a little hectic. So, so it's a 2-day competition is lovely. A larger competition, with a good turnout and, more couples, we were kind of used to that from the US. The competitions that we did here, usually, not all, but most are, pretty well attended. So, and when we did a few, like in Europe, some that were a little bit smaller, it was a little bit of a different, feeling, not that there's anything wrong with it, but also for like the American styles, for smooth and rhythm, not seeing as many competitors in those, styles. So we've had times where we were like the only one on the floor, especially with rhythm, not as much with smooth, but especially with rhythm. So, and then certainly like other things, like, the hospitality and other things that are planned and competitions, that have like more stuff going on with them are certainly, fun and really enjoyable for us. So, because it is a little bit like I said, I do use most of my vacation for dancing. I try to take 1 week where I travel with my children. I have 2 grown daughters. They're in their early 20s. But otherwise, all my vacation is for dancing. And so then when I go to Italy, of course, I love it. And there's nothing else I would rather do, but we spend all day in the studio. So everybody that I'm around, like, oh, we get to go to Italy so much. I'm like, yes, but I see the inside of a dance studio all day. And we have it's kind of like another job, but I choose that and I love it. So if there's a competition that has we can spend an extra day, or there's other things going on, then I can also kind of make it a little bit more of like a vacation or a holiday. So that's nice too.
Yeah. Otherwise, you have a real professional dancer approach. Airport, studio, competition, airport.
Pretty much. I mean, we usually do. There's a direct flight from Philadelphia to Rome, and Roberto lives about 3 hours north of Rome. So I usually will get in the morning. I'll fly overnight from here, get in at like 9 a.m. We drive and go right to the studio, usually. We honestly do. Sometimes we just do a couple hours that first day, and then go from there. But we have a routine now. It's been a lot of years.
Exactly. Very nice. Fantastic. Yeah. Of course, I understand also with the 3 different styles, the competition over one day only is quite challenging. But with all those beautiful dresses, you can't avoid. I see behind your back, you have some beautiful dresses.
This is mine.
Adrienne wardrobe.
Yes. I was really lucky. I have a closet that I can just use for dance. So
Nice.
it's my little area. I know. So it's great. And I have my dance, some of my dance photos up. And so it's like, I love, this is my area where I get ready. And so, yeah, it's always inspiring. I look around, I have other pictures on the walls here too.
Oh, really?
So.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah,
Mm.
fantastic. Good. And now, let's say if somebody's watching you now and you want to share a piece of advice, somebody that maybe is on the fences, they may
Yeah.
want to start competing or they may want to start dancing. What will you say
Mhm.
with your experience so far?
Yeah. I would say if it interests you, just do it. Try it and then don't give up. Because even if it doesn't come easily at the beginning, because again, it really did not for me. If you just, stick with it and, persevere and listen to your teacher and practice, I mean, it will come. And it is the most fun thing I've ever done, and really in all of my life. And it really became a passion very quickly. So I think, don't be afraid to try something new because again, for me, again, never danced before, not as a kid, nothing. Loved watching it and said, okay, let me just try. And, again, was very difficult at first. And there were times where I thought, maybe I'm just not going to be good enough. This is, to look at myself dance now and look back at a video from like year one or year two, or honestly, even like year four, like it's such a difference. And, it's just, being consistent and sticking with it will really pay off. It does take time. I mean, it's just now in the past year or two, I feel like we were talking before, I feel like I'm really dancing, 3 or 4 years ago, I thought I was too, but I knew there was like a big jump still to take, so I think just go for it. Again, doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter if you have, a arthritis in your knee or something, you can still try, you can still do it.
Nice, nice. You see, so the Adrienne motto is do it and don't give up.
Yeah,
It's very important.
exactly.
There is
Exactly.
nothing
Yeah.
stopping you. I
Sure.
mean, you are the best example. The
Mm-hmm.
teacher in the other
Yeah,
side of the world, some knee
exactly.
problem, never dance in your life, and yet, well, now
Mhm.
during the interview, I shared some of your videos, some of your photos. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody can see the way you are dancing now, and
Yeah.
we're looking forward to see 3, 4 years from now your
Yeah. Yeah.
future
Me too.
improvement. Nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
Adrienne, thank you so much. Really a pleasure having you. And
Thank
I see you maybe in
you.
Italy or around the world during some
Yes.
competition.
Sounds good. Okay.
Thank you,
Great.
Adrienne. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Bye.
Okay.